Good to see you all again. Names, faces, photos that are names. Yeah, and we'll continue to admit people as they come in. For those of you who have practiced with me before in this series, you know the basic sort of format. I'll talk a bit about a contemplative topic that relates to our meditation practice. We will then do the practice, typically like 10 to 15 minutes, and you're welcome to choose any position that feels comfortable for you during that time. And then I try to save a few minutes at the end for questions and reflections and such. So yeah, for those of you who are new to meditation practice or new to practicing with me or this series, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm curating these sessions so that they're open to any sort of practice levels or experience levels. And I always encourage a few kind of basic ground rules to follow for yourself. First, always take care of yourself. That could mean shifting your position, choosing to get some support for your back for this particular day. For some, it even feels like laying down. Typically, we sit in meditation, but if that's not comfortable for your body, I encourage you to find something that is, with the intention of staying kind of awake and aware enough to do the practice, and not take a little nap, although naps are great too, but hopefully not in this session. I typically close my eyes during practice. This allows me to kind of focus and go inward. And that doesn't feel great for everyone. So if you want to just rest a soft gaze somewhere in front of you, that's okay too. Maybe eyelids about half open, not really focusing on anything in particular, just kind of resting your gaze somewhere. And then finally, I'll be guiding us through different kind of mindfulness and compassion and loving kindness based practices. If at any point the guidance is not feeling good or like right for you, particularly if it feels unsafe, which I hope it would not be happening with the practices we're doing, but just in case, full permission to take care and like kind of zoom out, back off, so to speak, and maybe return to something in your external environment, like just kind of resting your gaze on the space around you, resting your focus on your breathing, just kind of dialing it back. But my intention is to not go that deep into practices. And sometimes we don't know, it can be a mystery when we are starting to relate in a different way with our bodies, our minds. So full permission to take good care. Okay, it always feels good to take a breath to transition. Today, I'm going to introduce something that even for those who have been with me before, you might not have practiced, which is very exciting for me because I see some names in here of people I've known for years. And this is essentially a practice of actually feeling good and like naming and recognizing for ourselves what's going well. And I say this is different from my typical approach, especially in compassion practices, because oftentimes we're kind of naming or bringing up or bringing awareness to something that hasn't been feeling good. And the purpose of that is to give it the spaciousness and tenderness and kindness so that it can resolve itself a bit and we kind of turn the volume down on the suffering from that thing. But I think it's also very important to name and recognize and be aware of like what's going well, especially if we've been working on shifting some patternings, if we've been moving through a challenging time personally, to really recognize, oh yeah, I'm actually doing okay at that. Or yeah, I have been making some shifts and changes, even if they're small. So in a way, just feeling good and feeling, dare I say, proud of ourselves. And if that word proud or pride is like activating for anyone or seems like why would we pump up our pride if we're trying to be like contemplative or meditative? I'll say that the second part of this practice that we're going to go into kind of is a safety net for that, like can dilute or be an antidote for any tendency to kind of be like, I'm the best and I'm so great in a way that isolates ourselves from others. And that's simply by like sharing the love. That's simply by taking any goodness or good feeling that we've generated and dedicating it or like sharing it outward toward others who maybe also could benefit from recognizing that they're doing okay, like they can feel good about themselves. So it's a two-part practice. First, we turn inward and recognize for ourselves what's feeling good, what we're doing well, and then we share it out, toward others. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then, one final thing, and I'll probably name this each session. I encourage you all to get curious about meditation as a space to rest and relax, to invite a sense of like spaciousness and ease, a space to kind of melt any sort of freezing or rigidity or contraction that you felt in your life, in your body, in your mind. I'll go into that in other weeks too, but I say that so that we're not over efforting to like create an experience. Instead, we're easing the effort, kind of relaxing the layers that maybe can feel effortful so we can access a space that feels a little bit more tender and warm and kind toward ourselves. Okay, we'll start and end with a bell today. This will be about 15 minutes. So whatever you need to do to get comfortable, go ahead. So making any shifts to your physical body that feel good, doing what you need to do to help your body be even like 10% more comfortable. Noticing maybe if you're leaning forward a lot, if your shoulders are kind of scrunched up towards your head. And just finding a position that will feel good or good enough for the next 15 minutes. And in the spirit of relaxing, resting, softening those spaces of contraction or tightness in your body, I'll invite you to just kind of scan your body, noticing where there's a holding on, a tension that maybe doesn't need to be there or need to be there as much as it is. And inviting some softness, maybe through taking a deep breath, letting go on each exhale a little bit more. If this feels abstract to you, then you might draw your attention toward spaces that are typically tense in daily life. For a lot of humans, that's tension in the jaw, that space between the eyebrows, a rounding forward of the shoulders sometimes, especially when we're efforting to focus. Inviting your body, inviting your mind, inviting the whole of your being into this space of rest, or at least the possibility of rest. Noticing the temperature of the room around you. where your body meets the surface that's supporting you. Maybe even for the first time today, just noticing like the sensation of your physical body. Perhaps for the first time today, noticing that you're breathing. And from here, I'll invite you to just kind of rest your attention at or around your heart center, the area of the chest. If this feels activating or not good for any reason, then just soften into what could feel like a center point of your being. Typically, it's somewhere in the torso. If it supports you in bringing attention to that space, you might rest a palm of your hand, again, at the center of your chest, or the space that you're working with, just to actually feel the warmth of it, if that's supportive for you. Perhaps even this just gentle bringing attention toward your heart or the center of your being with some warmth and care and tenderness is enough to create a shift, a sense of centering and presencing in this moment, just as you are. When we bring the quality of care and kindness to ourselves, we encourage this sort of melting of what's felt frozen or contracted, a softening of what's felt rigid. We create more space to be with whatever is coming up. And from here, I'll invite you to bring to your awareness some aspect of your life that you feel you've been doing well with. This could be how you've showed up in a relationship with family and work. It could be acknowledging the efforts and shifts you've made in changing a habit or behavior, like showing up for yourself more in a way that feels kind, caring, or with integrity, even if it's been challenging. If there's resistance to this, or a thought that came up was more self-critical, go ahead and kind of wrap that thought in loving awareness. in this quality of caring, kind presence. Until it feels held enough to make space for something that you've been doing well, a way you've been showing up for yourself or for others in your life, even if it's been hard, even if there have been challenges. Another way of inviting or phrasing this is an opportunity to see yourself in a way that perhaps you don't by default on a daily basis. Welcoming feelings or felt sensations of compassion or kindness, tenderness towards yourself. As you contemplate this, reflect on, maybe how long the process has been, or how much strength you've developed, integrity you've cultivated through showing up in this way. The positive impacts it's had, even subtly, for yourself or others in your life. Just allowing yourself to get curious, to explore, to really lean into seeing this aspect of yourself that maybe you don't on a daily basis. Sometimes words or phrases can arise. Words or phrases of encouragement or recognition, acknowledgement. Like, I know how hard you've been working. I'm really proud of you. We can do this. Trusting yourself to tend to yourself in a way that feels good in this moment. Allowing that feeling of goodness, a felt sense of compassion, warmth, care, even being proud of yourself to just grow. Sometimes this can be quite palpable, like a sort of growing outward from the center of the chest energetically, feeling that warmth, care, tenderness, compassion. And sometimes it can be subtler than that. We'll be here a couple more moments. And then there'll be an option to share this good feeling the sense of seeing and understanding, acknowledging the challenge and the success in meeting the challenge toward others. Having nourished and nurtured this recognition, perhaps even appreciation for yourself of how you've met challenges or initiated and continued with shifts and changes in habits or your life. Go ahead and bring to mind, bring into your awareness all the other people, maybe in your life, or even people you don't know, who similarly are putting an effort to care for themselves, to meet challenges in their life with care, with integrity, with compassion and commitment. And these people who may not have the time or bandwidth or self-compassion to kind of see and acknowledge how they've faced these challenges, how they're doing well, they've done well. I'll invite you to notice for these people, seen and unseen, known and not known. Acknowledge for them how they've met their lives and the challenges. How they too can be proud of themselves, can see and understand themselves for what they've been through, what they continue to work towards. It might feel good or like organic to just energetically let any good feeling that you've generated, almost like a warm light, just kind of glow from your being, meeting and kind of thawing out any sort of rigidity or contraction in the people you've brought to mind. Wishing them well and for them to see what you see. How maybe they're doing better than they think. That they can be a little bit kinder, more tender toward themselves. Be proud of themselves for the choices they're making, even when they're hard. And finally, if any words, phrases of encouragement or affirmation come to mind for any of the people you've brought into your awareness, you might go ahead and think or say them to this person or these people. I know it's been hard, but I see you. You're doing better than you think. Whatever words or phrases come to mind, and then as we prepare to bring this practice to a close, go ahead and lovingly kind of send those folks back, maybe from where they came, or to a safe space in your imagination. Taking a moment to bask in any good feelings felt, like a sense of warmth or presence or tenderness, shared connection. Noticing the sensations of your physical body, the contours of your body, and the space around you. Instead of seeing this as like flipping the switch out of practice, just go ahead and bring in all the sort of more like gross realities. So, physical body, temperature of the room, maybe sounds, welcoming the world back into maybe this new and shifted space that you felt internally. And then at the sound of the bell, coming back gently to our shared space. So taking your time, we do have a couple minutes left. If anyone has any like questions or reflections, I know it can be challenging after, transitioning out of that meditative space or transitioning the world back in.